Ever wonder how amazing it would be to completely clear your mind in just 3 minutes? You know that feeling of a million thoughts racing at once, endless to-do lists, and worries that just won't quit? What if I told you there's a technique, inspired by Japanese minimalism, that can transform that mental clutter into crystal clarity? A technique that doesn't need special equipment, apps, or years of practice. Just you, your breath, and 3 minutes of your time. A technique that's helped thousands regain control of their thoughts and find that inner peace that feels so out of reach these days. Think of your mind like the spaces where you live. When we accumulate too much, whether it's stuff in our house or thoughts in our head, we lose sight of what truly matters. Mental overload is as suffocating as a room crammed with unnecessary junk. Both steal our energy, time, and most importantly, our peace. We live in a world where we're bombarded with information every second. Non-stop notifications, urgent emails, endless social media feeds, alarming news, to-do lists that never end. Our minds weren't designed to process so many stimuli at once. When we try, we end up not doing anything well. We lose focus, we lose clarity, we lose ourselves. Minimalism isn't about having less for the sake of having less. It's about making space for what really matters. And that applies to our physical spaces as much as it does to our minds. When we simplify, we gain clarity. When we eliminate the excess, we find the essential. The technique I'm going to share with you today comes from observing how traditional spaces are organized. Spaces where every object has a purpose and a place. Where emptiness isn't seen as something to be filled, but as an essential element that allows everything else to breathe and exist in harmony. Before we dive into the details of the technique, I want you to just notice for a moment what your mind feels like right now. Is it full of thoughts, worries, plans, fears, expectations? Imagine all those thoughts as objects scattered around a room. Some big, some small, some useful, some not so much. Some you use every day, others that are just taking up space. Now imagine how great it would be if you could organize that mental room, put away what's important, get rid of what you don't need anymore, create space between things, allow your mind to breathe. That's what our 3-minute technique will help you do. This technique is divided into 3 simple parts, each lasting about a minute. No need for a timer, it's just an estimate to guide you. The process is what's important, not the exact time. First minute, acknowledge and release. Close your eyes and observe your thoughts without judgment. Like you're walking into a room full of objects and just noticing what's there, without deciding what to do with each thing yet. Just observe, acknowledge. Some thoughts will seem urgent, trying to grab your attention. Others will seem more subtle, almost hidden. Notice them all. This first minute is about creating awareness, about really seeing what's going on in your mind. As you observe your thoughts, start to breathe more deeply. Inhale through your nose, counting to 4 in your head. Hold it for a moment. Exhale through your mouth, counting to 6. Each time you exhale, imagine you're releasing some of those thoughts. You're not trying to push them away or deny them. You're just acknowledging that they exist and then gently allowing them to dissipate with your breath. Second minute, simplify and focus. Now that you've created some space in your mind, it's time to focus on what's essential. Imagine you're organizing that mental room. You've observed all the objects. Now it's time to decide what really matters in this moment. Ask yourself, what truly needs my attention right now? Not tomorrow, not next week, not in some hypothetical future. Now, this present moment. Maybe it's a specific task you need to complete. Maybe it's simply the sensation of your breath. Maybe it's the person you're going to talk to next. Whatever it is, bring all your attention to it. If other thoughts arise, and they will, don't fight them. Just acknowledge their presence and gently return your focus to what's essential now. This is the essence of mental minimalism. It's not about having an empty mind, but about having a mind focused on what truly matters. Third minute, integrate and intend. In the last minute, you're going to integrate that mental clarity with an intention to move forward. Like a well-organized space that invites productive action, your cleared mind is now ready to move forward with purpose. Ask yourself, with this clarity I've just created, what is my intention for the next few moments? Maybe it's to complete a specific task with total presence. Maybe it's to have a meaningful conversation with someone. Maybe it's simply to continue this state of clarity as you go about your day. Set that intention clearly in your mind, See it as a single, precious object in the center of that now organized mental room. Everything else is in its place, creating space for that central object to shine. Take one more deep breath. Feel the difference between how your mind felt before this practice and how it feels now. Slowly open your eyes, bringing that clarity and intention into your present moment. These 3 minutes may seem simple, and they are. That's the beauty of this technique. It doesn't have to be complicated to be effective. Simplicity is powerful. Minimalism teaches us that less often means more. You can apply this technique at various points throughout your day. Before starting an important project, when you feel overwhelmed by too many tasks, before a challenging meeting, between activities, when you wake up, to set the tone for your day, before bed, to calm your mind. Let's see how this would work in a real-life situation. Imagine you're about to start an important project at work. You have a tight deadline and a lot of expectations, yours and other people's. You feel that familiar feeling of anxiety building. Your mind is full of thoughts about everything that could go wrong, all the tasks that need to be done, all the variables and possibilities. This is the perfect time for your 3-minute break. You close your office door or find a quiet corner. Put your phone on silent, sit comfortably and close your eyes. First minute, you observe all those anxious thoughts. What if I can't finish on time? What if my boss doesn't like it? Where should I even start? Did I forget to consider something important? You don't try to stop these thoughts, you just observe them, acknowledging their presence. You breathe deeply, allowing some of them to naturally dissipate with each exhale. Second minute, you ask yourself, what really matters right now? What's the first step I need to take? Maybe the answer is simply to open the document and write the first paragraph. Or maybe it's to review your notes before you start. Whatever it is, you bring your focus to that essential first step, leaving everything else, all the future steps, all the worries about the outcome, aside for now. Third minute, you set your intention. I'm going to work on this project with focus and clarity, one step at a time. You visualize yourself doing that. See what it would be like to work from that calmer, more focused state of mind. You breathe deeply, feeling the difference that these 3 minutes have already made. You open your eyes and you begin. The difference between starting a project in this mental state and starting it with a cluttered, anxious mind is huge. When we're mentally overwhelmed, we tend to work chaotically. We start one thing, get distracted, jump to another, go back to the first, check emails in the middle, and so on. The result is stress, inefficiency, and often lower quality work. But when we start from a state of mental clarity, we're able to give each task the attention it deserves. We work with more focus, more efficiency, and more quality. And paradoxically, even though we lost 3 minutes to this technique, we end up saving much more time in the end. This technique can also be applied in moments of emotional stress. When you feel overwhelmed by intense emotions, anger, sadness, frustration, these 3 minutes can help you create space around those emotions, allowing you to respond to them with more wisdom rather than react automatically. What makes this technique so powerful is that it incorporates several fundamental principles of minimalism. Let's explore some of them. First, there's the principle of awareness. Minimalism starts with the act of really seeing what's there, whether it's in your home or in your mind. We can't simplify what we don't recognize. The first minute of our technique is entirely dedicated to this act of consciously seeing, without judgment, the contents of our mind. Then there's the principle of intentionality. Minimalism isn't about having less for the sake of having less. It's about intentionally choosing what we want in our lives. In the second minute of our technique, we practice exactly that, intentionally choosing where to place our attention. There's also the principle of space. In traditional environments, empty space isn't seen as a waste, but as an essential element of design. The space between objects allows each one to be fully appreciated. Similarly, when we create mental space between our thoughts, each one can be considered with more clarity. And finally, there's the principle of simplicity. The simple life isn't an impoverished life. On the contrary, it's a life enriched by attention to the essential. Our 3-minute technique helps us find that simplicity amidst the complexity of our modern minds. By regularly practicing this technique, you'll start to notice subtle but profound changes in how your mind works. You'll become more aware of the moments when you're getting mentally overwhelmed, and you'll be able to intervene sooner, before the overwhelm becomes oppressive. You'll develop the ability to create mental space at will, even in stressful situations. This is a powerful skill in today's fast-paced world, where the demands on our attention are constant and relentless. You'll also start to notice how this mental minimalism affects other aspects of your life. Maybe you'll start to perceive the clutter in your physical environment in a new way. Maybe you'll start to question some of the activities that occupy your time. Maybe you'll start to simplify your daily routines, your social commitments, your professional goals. That's the beauty of minimalism. It tends to naturally spread from one area of life to another, bringing clarity and purpose wherever it goes. One of the biggest barriers people face when trying to incorporate practices like this into their lives is the belief that they don't have time. 3 minutes? I barely have time to breathe between meetings. I completely understand that feeling. We live in a culture that values constant busyness, that equates busyness with productivity and worth. But think about it for a moment. If you were driving to an important destination and your car started making a strange noise, smoking and losing power, would you keep driving until it completely broke down? Or would you take a few minutes to pull over and check what's going on? Our mind is our most important vehicle in life. It's through it that we experience everything: joys and sorrows, successes and failures, relationships and loneliness. When our mind is overwhelmed, when it's making strange noises and losing power, it makes perfect sense to take a few minutes to take care of it. Moreover, these 3 minutes often save much more time in the end. When we work from a state of mental clarity, we make fewer mistakes, make better decisions, and work more efficiently. 3 minutes of mindful pause can save hours of scattered and inefficient work. Another common objection is, "I've tried meditating before, and I couldn't do it. My mind is too restless." If you've ever felt that way, I want to reassure you. This technique doesn't require you to empty your mind or reach some mystical state of consciousness. On the contrary, it starts by accepting your mind exactly as it is, full, restless, jumping from one thought to another. The goal isn't to stop your thoughts. That would be impossible and counterproductive. The goal is to create a different relationship with them, to see your thoughts not as absolute facts that demand immediate action, but as mental events that come and go. This shift in perspective is profoundly liberating. By regularly practicing this 3-minute technique, you're essentially rearranging the furniture of your mind. You're creating a mental space that works better for you, more organized, more peaceful, more intentional. Imagine what it would be like to live from that rearranged mental space. What would it be like to face the challenges of the day from a place of clarity rather than confusion? What would it be like to make decisions from a place of calm rather than anxiety? What would it be like to relate to others from a place of presence rather than distraction? That's the promise of mental minimalism. It's not just about having fewer thoughts, it's about having the right thoughts, at the right time with the right amount of space around them. It's important to remember that, just as organizing a physical space isn't something you do once and never have to do again, mental minimalism is an ongoing practice. Our mind naturally tends to accumulate stuff, worries, plans, memories, ideas. There's nothing wrong with that. It's simply how our minds work. The 3-minute practice is like a little daily organizing session. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to transform your mind into an immaculate showroom. It's just a gentle way to bring a little more order, a little more space, a little more intentionality to your mental experience. Over time, you might find that 3 minutes isn't enough. You may want to extend the practice to 5 minutes, 10 minutes or more. Or you might discover that you prefer doing several 3-minute sessions throughout the day, creating small islands of clarity amidst the ocean of everyday life. There's no right or wrong way to do this. The important thing is to find what works for you, what fits into your life, and brings the benefits you're seeking. You can also adapt this technique for different situations. For example, if you're facing a difficult decision, you can modify the second minute to focus specifically on the factors relevant to that decision. If you're preparing for an important conversation, you can use the time to clarify what you really want to express. Flexibility is one of the great strengths of this technique. It's simple enough to be adapted to virtually any situation that demands mental clarity. Now, I'd like to share some practical tips to help you incorporate this technique into your daily routine. First, start small. Don't try to apply this technique in every situation at once. Choose a specific time of your day, maybe right after waking up, or before starting your work, or before a regular meeting, and commit to practicing at those times for a week. Once you've established the habit in those moments, you can gradually expand to others. Second, create reminders. Our busy minds tend to forget even the practices we know are beneficial. Put a reminder on your phone, or a note in your workspace, or associate the practice with something you already do regularly, like having coffee or lunch. Third, don't worry about perfection. There will be days when your mind seems more cooperative, and others when it seems impossible to find any clarity. This is normal and expected. The important thing isn't the result of any individual session, but the commitment to the practice over time. Fourth, observe the benefits. Pay attention to the subtle differences in how you feel, how you work, how you relate to others when you practice regularly versus when you don't. These observed benefits will be your greatest motivation to continue. And fifth, be kind to yourself. If you forget to practice or if you feel like it's not working, don't criticize yourself. Simply return to the practice at the next opportunity with an attitude of curiosity and openness. Remember that mental minimalism, just like minimalism in any area of life, isn't about achieving some perfect ideal. It's about creating more space, more freedom, more possibility in your life. It's about consciously choosing where to place your attention instead of being swept away by the tide of distractions and demands. Every time you practice these 3 minutes of mental clarity, you're making a powerful statement to yourself and to the world. My attention is valuable. My mental peace is important. I choose where I place my focus. In a world that constantly competes for our attention, this is one of the most revolutionary statements we can make. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed, when your mind is too full, when you're losing clarity under the weight of too many thoughts, remember, you're just 3 minutes away from a clearer, more focused, more intentional mental state. 3 minutes, 180 seconds. That's all you need to transform chaos into clarity, confusion into concentration, overwhelm into simplicity. The beauty of this practice lies in its accessibility. You don't need special equipment, years of training, or even a specific environment. You just need yourself and 3 minutes of your time, and those 3 minutes can make all the difference. As I finish this video, I want to leave you with an invitation. Try this technique today. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the ideal conditions. Choose a time in the next few minutes or hours, and give yourself this gift of 3 minutes of mental clarity. And after you've tried it, observe what changes. Notice how you feel, how you think, how you act from that renewed mental state. The difference may be subtle or dramatic, depending on where you were starting from, but there will be a difference. This is the promise of mental minimalism. Less overwhelm, more clarity, less chaos, more calm, less reactivity, more conscious response, less distraction, more presence. 3 minutes. It's a small investment for a potentially transformative return. It's worth every second. Thank you for dedicating your time and attention to this video. Remember, in a world of excess, simplicity is the true luxury, and mental clarity may be just 3 minutes away. Share this blessed video so that it can touch and help other people like you and me. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for being part of our faith community. If you would like to support our channel a little more, consider becoming a member of our channel. I leave here 2 more videos so that you can continue your search. Thank you and God bless you all. See you later. See you.